All right, on this episode of From the Porch, let's talk about why we can't hire any machinists and why nobody is entering this field. Stay tuned. All right, so it's a nationwide problem that we can't find machinists. Everybody's hiring, nobody can fill a position. And why is pretty simple. So this is just a for instance. So 2 times in the last 6 months, 4 months probably, we done a couple of big plumbing projects. We had to redo the whole leach field on our septic system. It was 40, 50 years old probably. And we had some plumbing under the house that needed to be like redone, redirected. We moved the gray water, not going in the septic tank to another tank. So I called a couple of plumbers. Actually, I put a post on our local community page, and several people were recommended. So I called a guy, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'll come out and look at it." So I just wanted gray water redirected, and all the gray water landed in one location. So basically, we just needed to tie like 3 or 4 pipes together into one pipe, and then go out into a ditch, and then run along that ditch, and that's all it was to it. So I'd already, done like a little rough estimate on material and the time I thought it would take. I'm not a plumber or an electrician, but I wired and plumbed my whole shop, and I've done every other project there is around here. So I'm not ignorant to it, and I know how to look up, code and how it's done. So, I felt confident what it should cost. So he comes and looks at it and says, "Hey, I'll give you a price in the morning." So he declines the septic tank job, but quotes the the gray water job. So he gives me a quote of $1,500. So I knew as soon as I seen the quote, like, yeah, we'll just do that ourselves. I ain't paying nobody $1,500 for 2.5, 3 hours worth of work. So me and Andrew, I got under the house and done a little takeoff on the material we needed. And me and Andrew went to town, got all the plumbing supplies, come back, and we done that job in like 3 hours. So you just do that math. So if you was a plumber, so if you had the choice, well, I can be a plumber for $300, $400 an hour, or I can be a machinist for $16 an hour. Which one you gonna do? It's not rocket science. So fast forward, so we finished that project. We got a quote for like 10 grand to do the leach field. So I hired an excavator to come over, and they charged me $1,000 for the excavator. The materials were $1,600, I think. We done those plastic, the chambers, the plastic chambers. It was like $1,600 in material for all the chambers and all the 4-inch pipe and the fittings and all of that jazz. And I spent $1,000 for the excavator guy, so he done all the digging, and all I had to do was plumb everything in, lay out the chambers, do all the plumbing, and me and him together, I got on the skid steer and he got on the excavator, and we filled in the ditches when we were done. It took me 3.5 days, 3.5 days, 2.5 days, 3.5 days, I believe, to completely finish that project. So, we saved what? Just call it $7,000. Just round it off, call it $7,000 that we saved. And I couldn't make $7,000 in 3.5 days in my shop. I mean, sometimes I don't make $7,000 in 3 weeks in my shop, but that's another story. But I'm just saying. So fast forward to like 2 weeks ago, and the laundry room is all the way on the far end of the house, and all the plumbing goes that way. So we've got one, just black pipe, whatever it is, 1.5 inches, I think black pipe is. So it's going from this end of the house to about middle ways of the house, and then it ties in to everything else. So it had broke some time ago, I don't know when, and we had to put a union in it, like a rubber coupling, and so we got the rubber coupling in, years ago, and I guess just hot water and just contracting and whatever, and the coupling come off of the pipe, it separated, so it was leaking under the house. And so I was like, well, shoot, I'll just call somebody and get somebody just to replace that pipe. So there was another guy in that same deal that said, hey, we'll be happy to come look at whatever you got and give you a quote and all that stuff. So I reached out to the dude, and basically I just told him exactly what we had. I was like, look, we need to put in, 20 to 25 foot of black pipe. It's got a 90, and it goes up into the laundry room, about 5 feet. So you're probably gonna need 2 couplings, a 90, and 2 sticks of pipe, roughly. So he messages me back, and we got under the house, we got a vapor barrier and all that, so it's clean, no nasty mess. So he shoots me back, yeah, man, be happy to do that job. He said, without looking at it, he said probably gonna be around $1,100. So here we go again. $1,100. I mean, it's like $100 in material, roughly, and so we got $1,000, and I figure on a good day, it's about 2 to 2.5 hours. I mean, it's a dead straight run. All the hangers are there. I mean, there's just no, other than I just don't have time, right? I just don't have time to do it. And so I'm just like, man, here we go again. That's $325 an hour. And I'm just, I just don't know how we got to, how did we get to, we got people with literally, we got some pipe dope, a tape measure, and some pliers, pipe wrench, and a level. How did we get to $300 an hour for that? And I got $500,000 worth of equipment out there that I have worked day and night for the last 30 years to pay for, and we struggle to get $125 an hour. How is that possible? How did we get here? The question is, how did we get here? Because I'm lost on how it got to this point. Another example, not necessarily that, but I do it for giggles, because I like to see what's going on out there. And so you look at all of these machinist jobs on like Indeed, Monster, all of these job websites, and it's forever. There's just pages and pages of CNC machinists, manual machine. I tell you something that I've noticed. So CNC machinist jobs are not paying anything. Crap pay. $15 an hour, $18 an hour. Just garbage pay. But manual machinist, and I ain't talking about, Joe Flunky. I'm talking about a real manual machinist that knows how to actually make a part from a print with handles. Baby, some of them jobs are $40 an hour, well, which it should be. But I'm just saying that back in the day when I remember when, I mean, I was a manual machinist. You know, I run mills and lathes. And I remember when the CNC stuff got really big and people were hunting, you know, programmers. I mean, they were paid way back in the day when $25 an hour was big money. You know, they was paying $25 an hour for a programmer, and manual machinists were making, I don't know, 12 bucks an hour, 14 bucks an hour. And now the table has flipped because a lot of these big one-off jobs, you just can't do it in a CNC. I mean, just the programming time, it just eats you up, you know. And a lot of this stuff is reverse engineered. There is no 3D model, and the way these programmer dudes work, if you ain't got a 3D model, they just lost anyway. I mean, they have to import a 3D model and let the software generate a program. You know, I just go over there and write a program by hand, but we not programming, you know, 3-4 axis stuff like that. You know, we just, you know, drilling and tapping and profiles and that kind of stuff. But with the big manual work, you know, a lot of it's just, here's this grenaded, trashed out part, and we need a new one made from this sample. And the simplest way to do it is just, you know, calipers and micrometers, and go over and whittle it out with handles. And that's how we do it with a lot of that stuff. And those jobs, because it actually takes skill, you know, real skill, those jobs are starting to pay extremely well. The other issue is that I see all the time is there are several shops, and if you are on much any social media, you'll see several of these shops that are on social media begging for help. They're paying big money, huge money, and they're just begging for help. And matter of fact, one of them, I mean, we had a conversation. I'm like, heck, man, if you'll pay me that much money, I'll come to work for you. Shoot, you know, I'll shut this thing down. I'll come to your house. The problem is, here's the problem. A lot of these shops are just in horrific locations. And so I mean, I guess to put it into perspective, one place that we looked at, I got 3 acres, and I got a, I don't know, 1,300 square foot house. And here my place is probably, I don't know, $150,000, give or take. I mean, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but because the housing market's all crazy. But to try to put it in perspective. So take a $150,000 house in upstate South Carolina and transfer that same property to where these, you know, big money jobs are, and now you got a $700,000 house. So that's the problem. So you would have to, I mean, you know, multiple problems. So you go over there and the job don't work out. Now you got a 30-year mortgage on a $750,000 house. You know, what you gonna do with that? Number two, who in the world even wants to, well, number one, who can even get approved to even buy a house that costs $750,000? And would you even want to? And then the next thing is why would I pay $750,000 for a $150,000 house? You know, I mean, it kills the salary. So, you know, now making big money just ain't making big money. You just went from $12 an hour here in Carolina to $50 an hour over yonder, but your lifestyle didn't change. Nothing changed. So what's the point? So that is issues, and I don't understand. I guess, you know, they just stuck where they at, and that's where they built their business. But it's just insane to me. I mean, it's just insane. You would think that some of these places would move. I mean, not that I want everybody to move over here for sure, but, you know, move to places that are affordable, because the only way that you're going to get any help, and make your business grow is you've got to have talented people, and a lot of them. And I mean, we could literally here, we could do 10 times the amount of stuff we're doing. I mean, we could have a whole crate engine line. I mean, I got all kind of ideas. The problem is it's never going to happen because we can't get any help, and we're not ever going to get any help. And it is what it is. But, the moral of the story is, it got here, it got to this problem, and I just don't know how. I don't remember when all the other trades started making $300 an hour, and we still stuck at $50 an hour or $25 an hour. It just don't make any sense. And people cringe when I tell them our shop rate is $125 an hour. I mean, just general folks, the customers I got, they don't care what it costs. They just want it done because they can't get it done anywhere else. But I'm just saying, in general conversation, if a plumber tells, Leroy that it's $300, or $900 to fix his plumbing job, he don't even think about, breaking it down into how much that is an hour. But, they come over here, and matter of fact, I had it. I mean, we done a job on a head, and I just give the guy kind of a ballpark, probably $150 to do that one head. It was just a little clean surface and touch up the valve job on a deal, and I just ballparked it. I didn't give him nothing in writing, and so we figured it up, but the bill come up like $203. And I mean, he's crying. Not crying maybe, but it's like, oh, you told me this, and now it's this. And, that was just sort of an estimate. I mean, I didn't sit down and do the math, but I'm just saying that you don't hardly ever get that scenario in these other trades. People are not, oh, you're going to do that for, $100. But over here, they trying to haggle. Again, the good customers I got, they don't do that, but you get these people calling, they just Google it and say I'm a machine shop and they need their weed eater head resurfaced or some crap, and they call, and them's the kind of people that are haggling about the price. But the fact still stands that we should be getting 300 plus an hour for what we're doing versus gluing some pipe together. And I'm not taking away that there's not skill in plumbing. For sure, you build a brand new house and you need to lay out a plumbing system, 100%. But I've been up under a whole lot of houses and I've seen a whole lot of plumbing, and everything I've ever seen has been $3 an hour plumbing, not $300 an hour plumbing. And usually it's because I'm under there cutting out all that garbage and redoing it because it's a train wreck. So, you can take that with a grain of salt. But, we got to, if you are a business owner, we have got to start charging what it's worth. We got to start charging what it's worth, and we got to start paying people what it's worth. Or you're not never going to get any help. It's just not ever going to happen. And we have, on purpose, we got so much work. I mean, we are booked on engine builds all the way to July. And maybe even beyond July, but for sure to July. So we raised our prices a couple of times recently, just hoping that raising the prices would just slow down the influx of work. I mean, we're telling people July, and we raised the prices, and it literally has not affected the work income at all. We still get calls every single day. Can you build my engine? When can I bring it? And we tell them a price and we tell them a lead time, and they're like, okay, that's fine. I can wait. Let me put down a deposit. And I'm like, we just can't. I mean, we're already 6 months out, and that's stressful enough to just the logistics of 6 months out. And then what we got in the floor, we literally have nowhere to put it. I mean, there is so many jobs on the floor that I'm hunting places to put the stuff. I mean, we just need some concrete to set it on. There's so much of it. So, and then the worst thing, I mean, not the worst thing, it's a good thing, but I'm on the cam grinder like almost all day long, every single day. And the cam orders are coming in faster than I can grind them. So it's not used to, I could get caught up on cam grinding in a couple of days and then focus on engine work the rest of the week and then go back to cam grinding the first of the next week. But now we got so many cam orders that literally all I do all day long, 6 days a week, is grind cams. And that's a good problem to have, but I can't get to the engine work. So me and Andrew's kind of swapping back and forth. I get the grinder set up and put Andrew on the grinder, you know, roughing cams in, and I'll go over and work on motors. And then we're trying to make videos, and like today, I mean, it's late, you know, and I'm trying to knock another one out because several people mentioned, you know, I hadn't done any on the series, and so we're just trying to fill in the gaps where we can. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting, you know, how we got to this. If you can hear my chicken, I got the chickens over here hollering at me. I just thought it was interesting how it got this far away with the rates. I looked on one of the job boards the other day, just at plumbers' jobs, and you can just start tomorrow at a plumbing company, and most of those pay rates were anywhere from $30 to $55 an hour. Just you go work for a plumbing company, not you got your own plumbing company, and we're half of that or less for machinists. And we got to change that. I don't know how it's going to happen, but we got to change that. Anyway, I thought that was interesting, and I figured it'd be a good talk, something to just chew on and try to see if we can come to a conclusion of how to fix it. All right, that's all for today. We'll catch up with you on the next one, and like I say, we got plenty of other stuff coming. Just got to get time to make them. All right, see y'all. Thank you so much.